Morning, folks. Over here on the farm today. Come over to try to get a little bit done. Not real sure where to start. I hauled another load of logs yesterday. Me and my father-in-law cut trees down, brought them down. For those of you who might be new, sawing trees about an hour and a half away, hauling them here. The ones I want, white pine, we're going to be sawing them up for a log home. Problems that I'm having with this time of year that it is, the sap is extremely up, and I'm just trying to get the logs knocked down to a point where I can get the bark off of them and stack them up, save them for later when I got more time. Problem is, every time I go into them with the saw on the band mill, that stuff, the little feather inner layer of the bark wants to push the blade straight up. Now, you can claim tension, all that good stuff that you want. The blades are sharp. I can put an oak on there and it's all true as day. It's just those. If I get the bark off of them, they saw fine. So I know the blade and everything is fine. It's literally just that bark. Getting the bark off, I got to at least get one cut to get part of it off to get another cut. So it's very time consuming, very stressful in that sense, because out here by myself I don't get a whole lot done like I feel like I should. So the logs just keep stacking up, and I got to try to get them sawed before the bugs get into them. That being said, I've been also kind of during times that I can working on putting together the circle mill. It's an old, we believe, Meadows mill. Not 100% on brand, tell you the truth. I was told it was a Meadows mill. Father-in-law said he believed it was a Meadows mill, always has, but there's no name on it whatsoever. I know it's an old mill, but all the wood needs to be replaced that's on it. It's on a portable frame, so that's a good thing. It's one less thing to worry about, but all the wood's got to be replaced. So I've been working on that as well, trying to get that up and going, because if I can get it up and going, that'll make squaring these caints up a lot faster. The spread that we're sawing timber out of is going to take us a while because it's just me and him sawing, taking them out. So I mean, I got time in that sense. The owner of the land said take your time. He wasn't no extreme hurry, so we just been a little bit at a time, along with working a full-time job. So I've been pretty busy, plus trying to do the YouTube thing. That's the reason I get footage when I can, when I got a few minutes and the lighting and everything is good enough to get. Just an update, the meal carriage, I'll show you what I'm faced with. So this is some of the original wood. You can see it's just gone, but these are the original bearings that the track wheels actually rode on, the axles, and they are a cast with Babbitt field in this area bearing. And for those of you like myself that Babbitt had never heard of, it's similar to lead. It's a consistency of lead, like it's different metals joined together. Way back when they designed them to be able to pour, and you break the shaft loose and it wears that metal versus wearing the cast, sort of like a bushing style bearing is of today. That being said, you grease it, they're really good. They still use them in certain big factory situations. For things of today's time, roller block bearings were an option I considered going back with. I will be attempting to go back with Babbitt bearings, pouring them myself. I got the material on the way. The material I got so far ain't but $100. Guys, for one bearing, that's what it would cost me, and I need 8 of these things. And the one bearing that costs about $100 ain't this wide. These are about 4 inches wide, so it gives a lot of surface area. Now, are there those of you out there saying, you're crazy, do not go back with Babbitt bearings, use roller block bearings, they roll better, they last longer, all this good stuff? Yes, you're right. I don't care. I'm going to try these. Let's see. Let's just see how it works. I've looked on YouTube. Nobody's got these. So if nothing else, if this works, somebody out there may be in my same boat, might be looking on YouTube going, hey, I want to do how to do Babbitt bearings. And I might be able to help them out. So I'm going to go back with these because it's way cheaper. And that's my number one. Number two is done a little research. Ball bearings, just to break it down for you, the reason I'm not going, or is my second choice of going with roller block bearings. I ain't gonna say I won't go with them, just second choice. When something goes wrong, I should say when, because it's going to happen. Everything that moves and mechanical will break down eventually, guys. When it happens, speaking from experience, roller block bearings is catastrophic. When it stops working, because you can't hear it roaring or a little dry, and for the most part you can't hear that stuff. You can't hear if something's broken there. You keep running it because everything's loud. So you keep running it till it literally locks up, blows apart, something catastrophic happens. And you just hope that no damage is done when that happens. Now, Babbitt bearings, on the other hand, you start noticing they're bad when you start getting less quality of wood. When you start noticing that you're not quite as square as you once was. You're not quite as straight as you once was, possibly. Then you start looking, and you can investigate where's the problem. You notice, okay, my Babbitt is wore out. I can do one of two things. I can either change them and rebuild them in this situation, re-pour them. It's a little bit of work, but it can be done. Been doing it for hundreds of years, over 100 years, because these things was built in the 1800s, design-wise. Or you can keep running it. If you don't care about the quality, keep running it for a while. Now, granted, eventually you're going to run metal to metal, cast to steel, and that cast is going to start wearing out, and that steel is going to start wearing out, and you're going to have breakage. That's on you. You knew it was bad to start with. You knew that if I keep running this, there's going to be something bad happen. It's not like it just locked up out of the blue. So you knew you might be able to, okay, I might be able to finish this one job out that I got going, and then work on these. You got that possibility. Ball bearings, you might be right in the middle of the blade, and they blow apart, and you're locked up, you can't move. Now you got to try to fish that log off there, and you got to try to get that carriage backed out. That's just my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. Might be going with ball bearings, roller block bearings, whatever you want to call them. Might be doing that because the Babbitt idea may not work out. But I got 8 bearings to do, minimum, and it's $100 for the material to possibly do all 8, or $100 for a smaller roller block bearing that doesn't have the surface area to handle that kind of weight. And I don't even know what they're weight classed for. So, stay tuned with me. Watch that. Hope you enjoy it. It's a learning experience. I've learned a lot about this mill. I've learned a lot about working on them mainly. But also the old techniques and stuff like that. I've researched a whole lot. Now I'm to the point that I'm done researching. I need to get my hands on it and figure it out. So I'm trying to do that as well, along with trying to get the big nicest ones of those logs, because I don't mind losing some of the littler ones, some of the stuff that only make 2x4s or something. If I can't get to those, I just can't get to them. It sucks because you haul them down the road, you want to saw them, but If I can get the biggest ones, then I at least got that much less to do. These things are going to be hopefully for our future log home. Our plan is to get all these logs sawed, let them dry, and start building. Now, I'm going to show you a few logs. These are the choices that we have. We can either go with 8x12s, which means less logs will make a log for the home, because there's not, it takes a lot of log to make an 8x12. All right. If anybody out there has sawed and knows about sawing beams, it takes a lot of log, a lot of straight log to get 16 foot as well, because I'm trying to do most 16 footers because that's what I need most of. We can either do 8x12s, 8x10s, or 8x8s. Now you're sitting there saying, well, why are you going 8 inches? All these kits are 6. Because I want 8 inch. It's just the way it is. It's more insulation value, because for those who don't know, log homes, like the original log homes, it's a thermal mass. It's not an insulation. A log doesn't hold a good R value per R value of insulation. Now that being said, insulation of R, like say a R12 or R15 or R30 or whatever, that is just stops the heat. That R value is how much it stops either the heat from going through or coming in, one of the two, right? These logs, on the other hand, is sort of like rock. And anybody that's ever had a rock fireplace knows once it heats up, it slowly releases that heat, right? So basically, thermal mass, and there's a lot of science that goes into this. I don't understand it all. But basically, a log will absorb that heat and slowly give it back out. Or absorb that cool air and slowly release it. So it's one of those things, once you get your house warm for the wintertime, that's the main thing, right? Is keeping the house warm in the wintertime. Once you get it warm, your stove might die out, but your logs slowly are giving that heat back. So if it dies at say 2 o'clock in the morning, your house might still stay warm until 4, 5, 6 o'clock, possibly longer. I don't know. That's the basic principle of it. So we got to get the R value right in the roof and in the floor, because those are the areas that can release the heat. But the logs themselves should do fine. That being said, I want a thicker mass there so that my roof and floor doesn't have to be so heavy when it comes to the inspections and all that stuff. Because we are getting this, this is not off-grid. This is not county where I can just build whatever I want. It'd be great, but it's not. I got to get inspections, code, all that stuff. I got to meet it. They're great. They've been working. I've talked to them. They said, they've gave me the tools and the directions to go to get the things that I need to build this the way we want to build it. And they've allowed me to build my own home this way. Couple things: you can't get a bank loan doing it this way. Sorry, you can't do it. Not in this county. Most states won't let you build your own home this way and get a bank loan. So therefore, you got to do it on your own. Hence why the money is so important. Another thing is, most places require that if you do build something like this way, you have to live in it. This is going to be our home forever, hopefully. So we plan on living in it, no problem. We're not selling it. And another thing is, if a bank does allow you to take out a loan, most of the time you got to have a contractor. We ain't got one of those either. Now, my father-in-law is a contractor. That being said, I will ask for his advice many times over, but he's not the one actually on anything as far as doing the work. This is my deal. Now, my dad, my brother, and myself, we've built a few. I've helped build a few mostly. My brother just finished his house, passed all the inspections. Dad built his own house, passed all those inspections. code is pretty much one of those things. It's bare minimum. Most people willing to build their own house are wanting to go above code. They want to go better than code. This is their home. You want to build it yourself. You plan on living there. So you're going to try to do the best job you can do. So most of the time, guys, don't be afraid of code. I was, until I talked to them. I really was. I was worried that, you know, they're not going to let me do anything. You know, because it's got to be built to their code, and I can't build this, I can't build that. Just go talk to them. Most of the time, these guys have been in construction themselves. They understand, and they're more than happy to see someone that's willing, because they know a homeowner is going to try to go above code. They're going to want better for themselves because they're doing it themselves. That being said, with the wood market the way it is, we're trying to do all the wood ourselves. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but wood is high. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to shut up, stop talking, whatever you want to call it. I got to get some work done. I got some of my slabs moved yesterday. I'm going to pick through some of these logs and at least get a couple on the mill. I got to change blade. It's about time for a new one. And I'll show you, I got started on the track, the carriage assembly. I've started it, rebuilding it. I got it at the house and set up. I'm going to be going between those projects. And I also am waiting on some nice days to start mowing our back portion of hay, because we mowed a little bit in the front. It ain't maybe an acre. Way too wet when I baled it. We just stacked it up around the garden. We got a little bit off the side that dried good, but nothing to amount to nothing. We've been waiting for some hot days, like some real good hot dry days. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's close to the end of the May, and I'm out here in a t-shirt and a long sleeve shirt. Now I'll probably shed this before the day's out, but 50-degree mornings is not going to cut it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some days. I think this week's supposed to be nice, but I don't know if it'll be nice enough. We'll see. We just have to maybe risk it. I don't know. Because this hay's already gone to seed in a lot of it, and I'm afraid it's just going to go bad. But anyway, I'm going to get a log or two on, try to get a couple sawed today, and then I'll probably be working on that circle mill for some of the day, and I'll show you some of that. But I'm going to cut the camera, and I'm going to get those logs, because if you've seen one log sawed through the mill, you've seen them all. If you haven't seen those, go back and watch them. I've done a couple videos of the flank sawing. It's pretty basic, pretty slow, pretty routine. I just wanted to kind of give y'all guys an update as to what was going on and why the videos are so far and few in between. If you're interested in that sawmill, I'm going to try to do some solely on that when time comes and get more involved. I'm learning it. It's a learning curve for me, but I'm finding that a lot of people are very opinionated when it comes to those type mills. A lot of people say, oh, this won't work, that won't work. And then I'm finding also there's a lot of things that will work. I've seen a lot of different configurations of those mills. Guys, people have been doing this stuff a lot longer than we have. That mill, that style of mill has been back probably in the 20s, possibly longer. I don't even know how old that thing is, but I've seen mills that are still in working operation, built the way they was built back then, and they're still working. Maybe they're not built and working to today's standards, but half the buildings that things like that built and sawed the wood for, a lot of them's probably still standing. So it ain't got to be perfectly square and perfectly true every single time. Now that being said, I'm going to try to get that in as close as possible. I know it's not going to be as accurate as my band mill, but it should be faster. So when it comes to stuff that isn't required as much accuracy, then I'll be using it. I'm hoping to like basically build caints, square up caints with that. For those that don't know sawmill term caints, a caint is a rough squared up log. It's just basically squared up down to a point. It can be roughly any size. But then you take the caints, whatever size you got on them, and then you put them on the band mill, and you can square them up and true them up and cut whatever you need. If you, for instance, the logs for the home. So I'll be able to knock the bark off, get them broke down to a point with the one mill, and then when they dry good, I can put them on that. And any kind of twisting, any kind of settling or whatever, I can put them on that right before we put them on the house, and saw good dry logs to put on the house. That's the idea anyway. Plans change for me regular. If you've watched any of the videos that we started with, and you know my plans change regularly because I'm about to just stop making plans. It's not that plans aren't good to have, but in the long run, with everything going on, my plans always have something go wrong, something happen that just puts a sprig in them all. A meal goes down, rain, whatever it may be, something happens. It's life on the farm, as my father-in-law says. Things come your way. You just gotta figure out some other way of doing and getting the end results you want. So I'm gonna stop making plans, hopefully, and just have ideas and see if they work. Alright, I'm gonna shut up now and get to work.